Hello, travel agents, and welcome back to Travel Agent Tips. We've been doing this series since 2019, and we've been mentioning a host travel agency and KHM Travel Group multiple times, but we've never really explained to you what a host travel agency is. So today, we're very blessed and honored to have with us from our KHM marketing team, Ashley Newton. And Ashley usually is behind the camera, but today she's going to be out front asking questions about a host travel agency. So we're excited to have you, Ashley.
Bill, I am so happy to be here. I mean, technically I'm always here, but on this side of things, because honestly, I've worked for KHM for a while now, and I had all of these questions myself when I joined. All right, you ready for question one?
Ready.
The big one. We're going to start with the basics. What is a host travel agency?
A host travel agency is developed and set up in a corporate structure that allows multiple travel agents to be under one umbrella.
So if we had to help somebody visualize this, like if KHM is the umbrella and all the things under it are independent businesses.
They are.
Right? So we're really more of a giant awning, perhaps.
I love that. Absolutely, yes.
Okay, so you've decided to join a host agency. What does that mean as far as the relationship that you have with the host agency and setting up your business?
The key element is the host agency is your conduit or tool to booking travel, but you're the element. You're the entrepreneur who's setting up your own business, no matter what that looks like, making sure you're getting good advice to do that, but you're truly an independent contractor. All of that's handled through membership fees, which in our case are very, very minimal, with low risk to begin your business. And then, of course, the idea of knowing that you have somewhere with full support in order for you to become a successful travel agent.
So that word independent contractor, we use that a lot. What does that mean for the agents?
We are a business owner as an independent contractor. We do not work for the host agency. The host agency does not pay us and withhold taxes. We are responsible for our own taxes and our own business, income, and expenses. We recommend getting advice from either your CPA or legal advice. Going to your state website about starting a business is very, very important.
They also have responsibilities as a business owner, right?
We need to develop our brand, our logo. Part of that is our mark. Part of that is our mission statement, our own core values. How do we want to conduct business? Who are we going to do business with, right? Because that's not coming from the host agency. That's coming from me, my personality, my family, whatever that is, my background as an independent contractor who owns my own business now.
Right, and the key here is that you are starting your own business.
That's correct.
And the host agency, that's your support.
That's right.
How you're able to operate.
We offer you the credentials, and the credentials are that all too important IATA number or CLIA number, whatever that is that we're offering you, or any host agency is offering you, in order for you to use that within the booking engines as a relationship between you and a supplier to earn commission.
Right, and that can sound a little technical and a little complicated, but it is important to understand then the structure of how a travel agency works, whether they operate under a host or not. Correct?
That's absolutely correct, because if you were to do it on your own, you would need those same credentials, but oh my goodness, there's a big cost and a big element of obligation to those companies to get those credentials.
Yes, and if you're wondering what things like CLIA and IATA mean, may I suggest that you go watch our How to Talk Like a Travel Agent video that we did a while ago.
That was a while ago.
Yeah.
But that still has a lot
Broke
of good
out the
information.
fishbowl for that one.
That's right.
But you did mention commissions. So I have to ask, how do travel agents get paid?
That's the big thing, right? So once we make a booking and once that booking travels, then that supplier pays the host agency, and the host agency pays you based on what your contracted rate is with that host agency.
Right, and commission levels vary based on host agency, they vary based on supplier even, so...
Excellent question, and it's all of the above, right? So if that host agency is at the top earning level of all of their suppliers, you're going to earn the top amount. So at that point in time, you're now starting to earn money based on those bookings, based on that highest volume that your host agency has, based on the supplier's percentage, and now you know how much you're going to make and how much the host agency is going to make.
Okay, so
because the host agency has to make money also, so they're making part of that commission.
So let's say I want to start a travel business. I'd still be earning commission, right? Even if I was outside of a host agency?
Yes, you could.
But does that relationship change?
Absolutely. So you're not going to make as much commission if you do it independently. And the reason for that is because your host agency already has a pretty high volume with that supplier and those all too important relationships, right? They spent years developing those relationships. They already know that they're capable of earning at the highest level because year after year after year, there's many agents selling into that credential number for that supplier. So really, you could start on your own and build. The one issue about building is each year you have to rebuild. It's not 1 year and you're built to that level. It's each year you have to rebuild. Your host agency is never going to go down. They're always going to stay at the highest level.
And then there is another way that, because you are an independent contractor, you're running your own business. So we talked about the potentiality of charging fees.
Yes.
But we're not going to talk about that today. And why is that, Bill?
Because we've done this and we've had this discussion in Travel Agent Tips before. So I strongly recommend that you go back and look at that because it was an excellent take on how we eventually could look at charging fees for being a travel agent.
We talked about the commission levels, and that seems like a wonderful benefit and a great reason to join a host agency such as KHM Travel Group. But what are some other benefits? Why partner with a host agency?
First of all, you got teams of people who are willing to help you. In our case, we're very fortunate to have over 70 employees here who are there to help our 5,000 plus travel agents get started and continue to grow. So support. Absolutely big. I feel like we have one of the best agent support teams in the industry. We certainly have the marketing support. We have the education support. We have a whole team of educators. I mean, just think about that. And they're taking all of the elements that they've learned through experiences and making sure that you understand from a very basic, successful way all the way up to an experienced way.
So from day one that you're starting your business, you have the ability to tap into years of firsthand knowledge. I mean, these are, especially a lot of people on our team, these are people that have sold travel
for years. They've been through every type of experience there is in travel, and now there's all kinds of internal and online elements that can help you, as well as in-person elements that can help you through our boot camps. That's one of the best way to learn. You know, you can go online.
Hit the ground running for sure,
absolutely.
and come to a boot camp.
You can go online and you can learn through our learning management system and watch all of those videos, start to understand, take those quizzes, but really the best way to learn is in person.
And this is something that you did. You started in the travel industry as a brick and mortar, as a...
Yes.
So tell me about your journey. Take us there.
When I was a wee young boy, in 1986, my parents started our travel agency, and we just found ourselves heading in a leisure way for years until I joined a host agency. And then the whole world was open up to me, right? I didn't understand that there was bookings and travel beyond Mexico and the Caribbean. Obviously, good and bread and butter business, but the idea of now how the whole world opened to me when I joined a host agency. I was blown away by the idea that what I didn't know, and I think one of the biggest things that we didn't know as an independent travel agency was the compliance portion of it.
Ooh,
credit
scary
card
word.
authorizations. Exactly. Do you really want to handle that on your own? And plus, the idea is it came with E&O. Not all host agencies offer errors and omission insurance. KHM does with your membership. So the fact that I already knew that I had a reliability factor if I made a mistake built into my membership was another big element.
So how did it impact your business or you personally to make that switch and go under KHM as your host?
It certainly gave me experience, right? It was the idea of all of the elements of KHM Travel Group to help me take what I knew and then become a better travel agent. And through that now, I've been fortunate to share my experiences with many travel agents in the country who now are being successful in the travel business.
Well, you came from a unique situation, I think, of being established in the industry. So you probably had relationships with the suppliers that you worked with. How did that change when you joined a host?
Those relationships that I had with those suppliers, and by the way, that's how I came to KHM, through our suppliers who recommended that I join a host agency because of all of the benefits, along with the increased commission, the earning potential, right? So once I did that, and once I came to KHM Travel Group, my world really opened up because their relationships with 300 or 400 suppliers was different than a small travel agency whose relationships with 10 or 20 suppliers.
So when you say, I'm affiliated with KHM Travel Group to a supplier, that has a little bit more of a
no question.
Impact, maybe?
Absolutely. Oh, you're with KHM? Come sit by us. it's a whole different element in the industry, to be honest with you, than it is at. I loved my years as an independent travel agent because I was able to brag about that, but the bragging rights of being with a host agency are much more expanded.
So those industry connections and relationships, they're built in.
They've exploded. Absolutely. Not just through our relationships with ASTA, the American Society of Travel Advisors, with CLIA, Cruise Line International Association, but with all of our suppliers, much more in depth than it ever was before.
What about those events? We hear about these all the time, and KHM puts on some wonderful events. But even aside from ours, that you have to be an independent agent with us to attend, there's these huge conferences and all of these networking events. Is that something you were doing for your business before?
I'll say that I was a little fish in a big pond.
Okay.
So I would go to these and I would sit back and I didn't know many people. Now with a host agency, you go and you already have built in 20, 40, 80 friends who are there. Your co-independent contractors who belong to a host agency that you have camaraderie with. So the outtake of these events, what I've learned from them, has been expanded much more than ever before because I was just an independent travel agency who didn't get as much from them as I do now.
Now you use the word friends, and you were like, yeah, we go to these events and we see all of our fellow KHM friends. Now, when you join a host, we have right now over 5,000 independent agents across the country, which is amazing. But do you think that that is a network for connection, or do you think that is an opportunity for competition?
It's both an opportunity for competition but a much bigger network, and here's why. Now we're learning from each other, we're helping each other grow, we're holding each other accountable. That's really what it is, right? Does that network grow when we have events? Then there's 200 friends in the room, and we're not competitors any longer. We're in the same business, we're growing together, and we're learning from each other.
Yeah, and I'll say firsthand, because I'm fortunate to attend some of the KHM travel events, and when you get all of these agents together, you can feel the genuine connection and the support that they have for each other. So I think that's a huge benefit right there about being a part of our host agency.
I agree with you.
It's that built-in people that know what you're going through.
I see some of our competitors in the industry who say the same thing, and I know that they feel the same way. I think that there's just something unique about the KHM travel agent, the independent contractor, that when you get there, it's like home again.
Yeah. So on that sappy note, next question, the dreaded question that makes everybody nervous. How do I know that a host agency is not an MLM?
Yeah, such a good question. And if you've done your homework, you'll understand that there are some who are listed under the MLM category, right? Fortunately, KHM is not, because we do not incentivize our agents to go out and get more consumers to join them in a downline. As a matter of fact, we limit you to the number of people you can have in your agency if you elect to go in that segment, but we do not incentivize those, right? There's no up, there's no down. So we want to make sure that everyone understands there's no pressure to recruit anyone, and you control your own income, right? You're not basing your income off of what someone else is doing. It's off of your efforts of becoming a successful travel agent.
Right, because at the end of the day, you're running a travel business.
Correct.
So it's completely up to you what products you sell, what suppliers you work with, and how often you book even.
That's correct. And who you sell to.
And that's how your business works. It feels pretty simple now that we've talked it through.
That's good. I hope you're all understanding it as well.
But if they're not, what should they do? If they're watching this and they have more questions, who do they turn to, Bill?
It's simple. We have one of the best membership teams in the entire industry, and it's not just because of the people that they're able to bring on. It's the quality of the agent that they're bringing on, right? The quality of the consumer who thinks, I want to be in the travel business. Am I the right fit for this? Contact our membership team. They're easy to reach. They pick up the phone within 3 to 5 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
We're the best in the industry. 1-888-611-1220.
Yeah, so give us a call. I know they'd love to talk to you, answer any questions, or even if you're ready to get started, then we're ready to have you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ashley, for joining. I hope that we did a good job of explaining a host travel agency to them today. Look forward to having you join me in the future.
Oh, I had a blast. This was a ton of fun, and I hope that you all enjoyed it and learned a little something.
And how do they give us ideas on what they want to see in the future for Travel Agent Tips?
Oh, please comment, because we can talk about so many things about being a travel agent, right? But whatever you want to know, that's where we'll start. So drop us a comment, and then of course, do not forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel so you never miss a beat.
So well said. Thanks, everyone.